now that we've had our discussion, I think we should move over to what we know. I know how to do. We do best.
Again, this is such an on cinema thing. Oh, actually, no. Before we do that, I do want to actually bring up, now that I said on cinema, is that I went to go see Neeeeeeeil Hamburger live because he came to Vancouver.
Yes.
And Neeeeeeeil Hamburger, and it was such a thing where, like, the reason I found that out is because I have somebody in my Discord who I talk to, Shrugs. If you're listening, hi. But yeah, she basically
hi Shrugs.
She's like the biggest on cinema fan I know, and she like was commenting on Neeeeeeil Hamburger's post. Is like, why don't you come to East America? Because he put out the tour date for his Canada tour, and that's how I learned about the Canada tour. So it really helps to have like people within the kind of like stratosphere to like inform you about this type of thing. But Neeeeeeil Hamburger. So are you familiar? Like, I know you've watched a bit of On Cinema, but are you familiar with Neeeeeeil Hamburger's stand-up?
You know what? Not really, but I remember for Mega 64 Day a couple of years ago, they had Neeeeeeil Hamburger. I thought he was really funny.
Yeah. It's kind of fun because, like, he'd make cameos in, like, a few different things. I remember in Tenacious D, The Pick of Destiny, when they're going to, like, have the concert on stage, like, Neeeeeeil Hamburger's up there, and then, like, he makes a joke and gets booed off stage or something. So, I think that was actually the first time I ever saw him in anything. But I've seen him in... I've become more familiar with his stand-up now, and it is kind of like some people describe it as anti-comedy, or it's funny because it's not funny. Like, the whole thing is like, it's a satire of bad comedy. So I don't know if that's really the same thing as it's funny because it's not funny, but it's, you know, the whole thing is like he's an unprofessional comedian that's going up there and he's like hacking like and like, you know, he's like going after the audience, and, you know, he has like a huge ego, which is not actually at all what Greg is like, you know, just based on the small interaction I've had with him, that was pretty surreal too, because after the show in Vancouver, Greg was doing a little bit of a meet and greet after, and I didn't talk to him long because he said like he had to go and he wanted to get as many photos with his fans as he could, so I wanted to be respectful of that. But the whole thing is with Greg is that I've seen him on Cinema where he's playing a fictionalized version of himself, which is not Neeeeeeil Hamburger. Neeeeeeil Hamburger's this whole other character he created. But it's very strange when I see Greg in like interviews or something, because I'm so used to seeing him in either the Neeeeeeil Hamburger persona or in his On Cinema persona. So whenever he's like out of character in an interview, it's really jarring. But can you imagine how jarring it is to not only see him out of character, but talk to him while he's out of character and dressed up as Neeeeeil Hamburger?
That would be so friggin' surreal.
Yeah. So, and it was actually pretty great because like I fist bumped him. I said like, On Cinema's the best fucking series ever made. And then he said, we'll be doing more of them. And then I said, yeah, I bet you will. And then he laughed at that. So I actually made Greg Turkington laugh, and that was a pretty monumental moment of the night.
You could die happy now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I gave back to him as he's given so much joy to me. But yeah, I mean, I absolutely...
That's friggin' awesome.
It's great too, because like I really want to see On Cinema live. I've seen Tim and Eric live 3 times. One was them on their own. Another was they had Doug Lucenhop opening for them. Do you know who Doug Lucenhop is?
No, actually.
Okay, he was like one of the editors on The Awesome Show who like really... And you know, editing is a huge part of The Awesome Show. So like he was one of the head editors. And he's on that podcast that Tim does called Office Hours, which I haven't seen a whole lot of that yet. But yeah, I've seen... So yeah, one with... Doug Lucenhop was opening for him, and another time it was John C. Reilly as Dr. Steve Brule. He was there, which was awesome. That's when Check It Out was becoming a big show. So, yeah, so now I've seen Tim and Greg live, but separately, and my goal is to see On Cinema live, because that's my favorite thing either of them have done, as much as I love all of their other projects.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.